Hello. Do I talk to you? Do I talk to the mic?
Like, is he gonna start?
Hello, this is Landon, your average aardvark, here with Noah the Gnome,
What's up?
and this is the State of the Game podcast, number 1, the inaugural episode, I guess.
Ooh, inaugural.
Inaugural.
Big word.
Is it official? It's official. How are you, Noah?
Oh, I am doing fantastic. How are you?
Should we do
aardvark?
this? Should we do like this like how are you? Or we're just acting for the people? Is that what this is?
I don't know.
Do they care how we are?
I don't think so.
Let's just get into the news. And this week's topic for the news is obviously the Black Ops Cold War reveal. For obvious reasons, but we'll review for the listener who lives under a rock.
Me.
Yeah, Noah has no idea. Do you know what happened?
I know that we're getting some more family fun time with my favorite COD character, Woods, and
Okay, there
we're
you
gonna
go.
go kill some dudes. It's gonna be fantastic.
All right, so you know that there's a new Call of Duty.
Yes.
That's basically all
Yeah.
you know. Okay. Well, let me review. So there was an Easter egg kind of reveal for Black Ops Cold War that was sent to content creators like in secret code form, and long story short, it took them a week of consecutive days of released information to figure out like the release date that was listed on a website that they finally found through the Easter egg to reveal the date of the COD trailer. But then this last week we got someone found out, I don't remember how, that they were gonna reveal the new Call of Duty in Warzone. So like Fortnite, Fortnite was like the first game to have an in-game event, right? Like
As far as
I don't play
Battle
Fortnite,
Royales
I don't
go.
know. Okay, so for battle royales, I mean I don't know. Do I even play games? I don't
What's
even-
your history on games?
bro?
Are you a fake fan?
No, I don't want to get into this right now. Bottom line is, it was historic. And I think even if they weren't the first to do it, it was historic only because it's the biggest game in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
It's got the biggest player base. It was like 70 million or something like that during the reveal. And there's basically nothing that's ever been done like that before. And I think it's
On
really
such
like
a huge scale.
yeah, it's pushed the envelope in terms of not only Call of Duty, because obviously Call of Duty's never done this, but games in general. Is this raising the bar for like the future of game reveals? But then again, it's like, is anyone even gonna try? Kind of thing. Like,
I think Fortnite kind of made it so companies have to try. They have to push that envelope even further, because if they just let Fortnite get all the crossovers, all the big events, I mean, they had Travis Scott, they're doing another crossover with Marvel.
Wow,
if they
yeah.
keep letting Fortnite escalate the way it is, nothing's ever going to be able to come even close to it. I mean, right now it's like you either have those games that have a full range of worldwide appeal, like League of Legends, that can kind of compete. They have music videos, they have their own in-game events and crossovers. So once you get to a scale that big, that's when you pit each other against one another's formats and reveals. So Call of Duty, that's something that's really big, but has never done something like a huge crossover. Needs to do something in-game to make it so that way their players get that full experience without having to approach a wider audience.
it's almost like just a huge publicity stunt.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously it's all for publicity, but I mean, you could have just done an E3 trailer, you know, like everybody else. But this year, especially with COVID, there's no E3, right? There's no like game conferences where everybody's there and everyone's watching.
Yeah.
So this is like the best way to, one, to get people back to playing Warzone, because then they know that it's going to follow through to the next COD. And two, you've got like the two different developers, right? You've got Treyarch and Infinity Ward both working together on this. Is there going to be like, so you got Game of the Year, you've got like, is there going to be like a reveal of the year award now? Like everyone's competing for the best reveal that they can put forward.
You know, that sounds like a dumb idea, but I wouldn't put it past them just
See?
being like, you know
Exactly.
what, we can make this a thing, and everyone would totally jump on board.
Yeah, that kind of scares me. It's like stuff like Fortnite, and I've never actually
played a round of Fortnite.
Really?
I've never done it.
Wow.
I've refused.
You're a unicorn. I personally am terrible at the game, but even I've played my fair share.
Well, so I have a unique perspective then. Coming from just hearing about it and never actually playing it, like what I hear is games like Fortnite and now Call of Duty, are they becoming they're like becoming the meme, right? They're like infusing themselves into pop culture as much as possible to get themselves to become even more mainstream than they already are. Like Fortnite is reaching people who aren't even gamers. Like Travis Scott, like maybe he plays games, I don't know, but his fans, they're music fans. So they're bridging the gap.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. It's a point in time for games where we have never been before. Uncharted territory.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's definitely a good step for gamers, because for such a long time, and I know a million people have said the same thing, but like being a gamer and playing video games for a living and stuff, like no one ever paid any mind to it. But now it's like when a parent sees their kid like listen to music, but also playing their games, and they see that those content creators on either side are coming together and joining, it's just bringing more people together, for better or worse, depending on the community around each of them. But I think it's definitely opening the eyes of a lot of companies and businesses to appeal to every audience. And when video games are such a route for kids, young adults, and now even into adulthood for most, it's very interesting to see how they cross over advertisements and pushing content for everyone.
Right. It's almost like legitimizing games. Or like, what's the word? I don't know what the word is. But they're doing it.
Look it up.
All right. Well, maybe we should move on to our topic for today, which is COD culture, toxicity.
I love the delivery.
Question mark? Clickbait? Okay, so we all know COD culture. You don't even have to play COD to know COD culture is infamously the most toxic, racist, prejudiced, just plain mean people you can find on the internet. Maybe that's not like if you go to Antifa.com or something, maybe, well, actually that goes to Joe Biden's website right now. That's another topic.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is queue into a COD lobby and you'll experience what many people would describe as the scum of the earth. And sometimes I don't want to tell people I play Call of Duty, because then they think things about me. I don't want to be judged.
Terrible things. You're an awful human being if you play this game.
Exactly. So I guess my main two questions are, why and where does this come from, specifically in Call of Duty as a game? Not limited to any one Call of Duty game, but Call of Duty across the spectrum from 2003 to now. Why? And then the second thing is, how does it compare to other games? And that's where you come in, Noah, because I don't know many other games. I know Battlefield, I know single-player games,
like
and I know Call
FPS.
of Duty. Yeah, a little bit of Halo back in the day. But why? Like, we can only guess, I think. There's no
benchmark for what determines whether a game can be toxic or can be friendly.
True, and there's also no like evidence for like, this is why COD players are more toxic than other players. And that's one thing too. I know what all the moms are gonna say. Well, it's because you're shooting people and murder and killing and war, and that makes people horrible and rots your brain cells. But what do you think, Noah, about COD toxicity and why it's there?
Well, I definitely think with the online era and with Call of Duty becoming so big because of the online communication that the past gen consoles provided and are still providing, especially now with crossplay, that people get to hide behind their username, their gamer tag, their calling card. They get to hide behind that screen.
The anonymity.
Exactly. So you can be whoever you want. You can say whatever you want. No one's going to care. It's a video game. It's for fun.
No consequences.
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest root of that toxicity.
And also because, I mean, some people are just terrible, terrible human beings, and they get kicks for being terrible, terrible human beings.
That's true. Like, there's no consequences for telling someone,
Go
I'm
jump
gonna
off a
kill
bridge.
your mom, or yeah,
Yeah.
something horrible. And like, if you said that across the table from someone in real life, the very least that would happen is you'd be unfriended. You know, like, no one wants to talk to you if you're a jerk. But, you know, the worst case scenario, I want to kill your mom, and you die because that person kills you. No nerd is going to say that out loud.
Worst case scenario, you die.
Well, actually, worst case scenario, that guy kills you and your family and everyone you love, and presses the nuke button, and we all die. That's the worst case scenario. Yeah. But, yeah, the anonymity definitely encourages toxicity, I think. Because there's no consequence, you know. But then it begs the question, like, there's some people, and I'm not saying I'm never toxic, because I can be toxic. I'm not the person who never complains at the end of a match, saying like, "Dude, you guys were camping the whole time." Like, also, that's another topic though. Everybody at the end of a COD match, someone is going to say, "What a bunch of campers, bro! Like, get out of your spawn."
Campers are truly the scum of the earth.
Campers and meleeers. Don't even get me started.
You gotta have some respect for them. They're charging in no guns in a game that solely relies on guns.
That's true. Okay, I don't mind if you're knifing. I don't mind. What I mind is if we're in a 1v1 sniper battle, and everyone has these, it doesn't matter if there's 8 other players on the map. You and another sniper will meet, and you're taking shots at each other. You're getting hit markers, but no one's got the kill yet. And you're getting closer and closer, and someone, never me, because I'm not the scum of the earth, he just starts, he realizes you can't kill me with bullets, so you start hitting me, and I'm not going to stoop to that level, so I just die. That's what I hate. That kind of melee, the cowardice of pulling out of the 1v1 sniper and just saying, I'm going to cheat here.
I feel like you have some gulag PTSD going on right now.
Don't even get me started about the gulag. All right, but back to the topic at hand. The question for me is, if anonymity is what encourages people to not filter what they say because there's no consequences, why do people want to say that in the first place? What makes them so angry and full of hatred and the dark side that they feel like they need to threaten my mom, you know? Like, and it's not always that severe. There's the times where at the end of the match, you know, it doesn't matter if you win or if you lose.
Someone's always got to say something.
Well, and what they say is, you suck, or some variation of you're trash. And it's like, okay, you won. You don't need to say that because it's evidenced by the win that you are better.
Yeah.
And if you lost, it's evidenced by the loss.
You suck.
You lost. So saying the other person who won is trash, obviously not true. If you won, saying that they're trash, like, you already won. Like, you don't need, like, have some class, you know? Don't be a sore loser or a sore winner. What makes people so angry that they have to do this? That's my question.
And I think part of it, not all of it, part of it is due to people's inherent nature towards competitiveness, that everyone wants to be good at whatever they're doing. No one wants to play a video game to suck, because that would be an awful existence. If you
Dark Souls.
Like, I have words for Dark Souls, but not today. Yeah, so I think it's definitely people want to be better, want to do well, and hey, maybe they had a string of really bad games. They're on their 7th loss in a row. I'd be upset. I'd be freaking upset. I would want to shout out at someone. Will I ever get to that point? Probably not, because you know what? I am mad enough to admit that if I'm on a losing streak, I will just stop, because sometimes it's not sometimes it's not worth it to keep going just to suffer even more defeat. Will I still want to play to win? Yes, but if I keep losing, hey man, sometimes it's time to just watch Netflix and go to bed.
Sometimes it's time to just give up, put your guns away, and put the controller down.
Yeah,
maybe throw it through a window, but don't tell people they're trash. It's rude. Don't be toxic.
My friend broke one of his controllers from throwing it at a wall after he told someone that they were trash.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never actually known a person who's done that. Like, it's the meme, right?
Yeah.
But that's cool that you know someone.
Sometimes the meme is too real.
It's too real, dude. Okay, so I think we've come up with no good answers for that. Let's compare to other games. because obviously COD has the crown for toxicity, but there's obviously toxicity in other games and actually every area of life if we think about it.
100%.
So toxicity is in the human nature. We know this in everybody. No one's perfect.
We all suck.
Amen. But does it have the most toxicity, or is this just a baseless meme that people spread? You play other games, so you take the lead here. Well, as the authority.
As the authority in this situation amongst these two people, I definitely think that the meme is much greater than the actual reality of it. Because when you compare the player base for Call of Duty to many other games, I mentioned it earlier, League of Legends. I mean, obviously that's got the most amount of players in it, and then you have Fortnite that's also amazingly, stupidly huge to play.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of their toxicity comes from people wanting to be as good as the people they see. They want to emulate better players. Like, I know for me, whenever I would play like Overwatch, I was watching some of the Overwatch League at the time. It's like, hey, I see them making these really cool plays with Diva, with Winston, with Soldier. I'm like, I could do that. Like, I know how to play the video game. Sure, let's do it. And then no one on my team ever cooperates. Everyone wants to be that best player, so everyone runs off and does their own thing instead of being a team. So then, instead of hating the enemy team, in these situations, you end up hating your own team because your own team is what's holding you back,
right,
quote unquote, because you're doing the same thing they are, which is you're all trying to go for kills. Maybe you're not always going for the objective. You're not always going for the weakest link on the enemy team. You're creating your own weak links. And so I think that breeds a lot of inward toxicity for the player base, but then you also are upset because you're losing, because if your team's not doing well, you're not doing well. And if you're not doing well, then you're getting upset at both your team and the enemy team.
It's just a cycle of death, destruction. Noah, are you saying that the YouTube content creator culture is responsible for the toxicity in games today?
I am not.
Oh.
But I am saying...
Because I think you might have a point there.
No, and partially so, because, I mean, if you see... Let's just throw his name out there, Ninja, getting upset because he's not doing well, heaven forbid.
It's an example to all the younger gamers out there.
Exactly. And so when they all want to be as good as Ninja is, and they're not, they're going to be squealing in their microphones, calling people bad names, and because they want to be as good as their hero, as their favorite player.
Right.
But
that's so sad. Sorry, continue.
Oh, no. But also, I think it's just people's own want to be that next great player.
Right.
Maybe not to just be as good as someone, but to be better. And I think that in hindsight, it wants to be a good thing. Everyone wants to be better. Everyone wants to better themselves, and that's great. That's awesome. But sometimes you got to know there's always a bigger fish. That someone is always going to be better, and that, you know what, you don't have to be the one to carry your team. You play your roles. You play the objectives. That's how you're going to win. If you go out there trying to get kills, trying to be the best player, trying to do everything by yourself, let's face it, you're going to lose.
Some people can do that, but it sounds like it's like the classic bully story, right? And what toxicity is online is really you're trying to be a bully and
put people down.
Right. And what do people always say about bullies? It's they're only bullying other people because they don't like themselves, or like they have...
All gamers hate themselves.
Well, it's kind of true though. Like what you're saying, it's like the YouTube and Twitch and whatever else, now Facebook's doing it, streaming. It's like all the people who make the most money, it's like you're either hilarious or you're really freaking good.
Yeah.
And if there's so many people who are so good at the game that you feel like I must suck because I'm not as good as all the people I watch on YouTube. And I've felt this way before. I'm sure most people feel this way.
So are you blaming content creators?
I might be. I think I'm not blaming content creators for the actions of individual players, right? Personal responsibility is an all-important quality that we all must have. But there's many content creators who make money off videos that are literally just raging, right? So one, it's funny, but two, people must want to recreate that. They must think that's how you play the game because that's how they do it. But also, it's like I'm frustrated because I want to be like that person. So the people that I watch on YouTube, like a lot of them, if they lose a game, yeah, it's frustrating. But you say GG's and you move on. Unless they're cheating somehow, then roast them. But it's like nobody in COD and in a lot of games knows how to move on and take the L. Like you watch pro players, and many pro players in COD don't know how to take the L either. But like I watch Scump, like he's my pro player YouTube guy that I watch. I'm sure it's millions of people are the same. But Scump, he'll get frustrated, but he knows how to take the L. That's what it takes to be a competitive person.
Yeah, you gotta know that you can grow from that loss.
Yeah, and in all sports, I played baseball. You lose sometimes, and sometimes I've played seasons where we've won one game the whole season, and you take the L's, and you be really happy when you win. But man, do people not play enough sports? Like, what is going on? And I think part of it too is like people just don't know what their identity is. Like their identity is in the results of their actions. It's like if I don't win, I'm a loser.
Yeah.
It's like no, if you lose a COD match, you're not a loser. People
Tell
will
that to
call
my
you a
KD.
loser, but it's like there's other things in life. Even for people whose job it is to play COD, it's not their whole life. Their identity has to not be in the game, guys. Like, come on. That's my rant about COD toxicity.
That was a beautiful rant.
Be classy.
I'm tearing up right now.
Thank you. All right, so now we move on to the state of the game. And this week, you guessed it, it's Warzone.
Wow.
Because why don't we have a COD-themed podcast? Entirely COD. Everybody who plays nothing of COD just left. Because they're like, it's all COD. But it won't always be like this. Probably. So Warzone. What is the state of Warzone at the moment? That was loud. I slapped my ring on my shirt. So as a battle royale, as a free-to-play game, how does it compare to the industry standards? I mean, and there's so many free-to-play games that are trash, and there's a lot that are really good.
I've played a lot of them.
Of course, and what makes a lot of free-to-play games trash is the amount of paywalls, and it's quote free-to-play end quote, and it's not really free-to-play. It's free to download.
Yeah.
But once you start playing it, it's pay to win. And as the COD, not the COD community, as the gaming community, we hate pay to win games, right? Everybody hates pay to win.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair to us poor
my
folk.
wallet is not large enough to support my gaming needs.
Right. So Warzone, it is the biggest battle royale, right? It passed Fortnite, I'm pretty sure. What even other battle royale? So we got PUBG, obviously. We got the OG, which was like the Arma mod.
Yeah.
And it was called just Battle Royale. Arma. I'm pretty sure.
We don't have a fact checker.
This is not an educational podcast, right? Go do your own research.
We're just here to talk.
So obviously as Battle Royale started out, it was you start with nothing. The typical Battle Royale formula, you start with nothing, you gather supplies, you kill people, you survive, you win. The last one alive wins. And I think Battle Royale started really campy. Because that's how you, like, it was more close to what a real
Hide
life...
in a bush.
Yeah. It's more close to what a real life Battle Royale would be. You watch the Hunger Games, like, nobody's running around the Hunger Games thinking, I'm going to get 20 kills this time. Like,
wow, that would be a much different movie.
Yeah, like, Katniss kills everybody.
I'd pay to see that.
She's John Wick. John Wick, that's a Battle Royale.
Ooh.
There you go. That is the modern Battle Royale. It really is. Hunger Games was the original Battle Royale.
John Wick is the new Battle Royale.
Yeah. Because now, like, compared to that original, like, I don't know if it was DayZ, but the original Arma style and the PUBG style even, like, people were getting high kills in PUBG, but not nearly the kind of games you see in Warzone. Now you've got teams with a combined almost 200 kills for the records, and it's like, that's possible. Oh my god, like, what is this even a battle royale anymore? And even with the addition of the gulag too, it's like you can die as many times as you want and still get brought back by being bought back. Gulag, you got the stimulus modes, all the different modes. So Warzone, and I think even Blackout was a lot more campy than Warzone is. And there's definitely campers in Warzone. Don't get me wrong, we all hate them.
Yep.
But the progression.
Every time I zipline.
Yeah, every time you get
There's
on the
always
zip
a
line.
claymore or someone prone on the ground, and that person, I say to you, you can go die in a hole. Sorry, I had to say it, but
You know what? Amen. Even if I am that guy sometimes. I mean, what? So the progression of battle royales from the OG campy style to like whoever can camp the best wins. And now it's like, in Warzone you can play in a variety of ways, but the popular way, especially on YouTube for content creators, is people want to watch high kill games. Or
that's what gets the views, baby.
Right. You're either the guy with the most wins, and that's cool because you have the most wins, so we'll watch you, kind of strategize, or we'll watch you, the guy with the most kills, and who cares if you win? You got 30 kills, so you're amazing. But it's like, what happened in battle royales to get to this point, and is it going to stay like this? Could we ever go back to a battle royale that's campy? And I'm going to give you one answer that is no, and I think because it's not as watchable. Battle royales have never gotten as many views on YouTube as they do in Fortnite and Warzone and PUBG. So I don't think it will go back.
People want content.
Exactly.
And no one wants to see you sitting in a bush for 15 minutes just to die at the last circle because you didn't loot up, you didn't get your loadout, you didn't properly scope out the enemy team. You're gonna look like trash.
Strong words from Noah the Gnome. You heard it here first. It's interesting how Warzone is as successful as it is, because so many people, including myself, hate the game. Like, you don't really hate the game, but it's so difficult to compete at a high level in that. It's like when you get a win, it's amazing, and it's like there's many people who are way better at it than me, but it's such a frustrating game, not because of how hard it is, but mostly because of like the RNG, right? There's so much randomness in Warzone. It's so chaotic. There's so many variables you just can't account for. No matter how strategic you are, you're gonna lose sometimes. And then you got the gulag. Like, everyone hates the gulag. Like, no one can agree what weapons are good in the gulag. And then, to top it all off, you have the game-breaking bugs that Warzone has experienced, not including the weapon balance issues and like the overpowered quote weapons that they've had in the game that everyone hates, that everyone is forced to use. But
only for it to get nerfed a month later.
Yeah, exactly. A month too late.
A month of sorrow and sadness.
A month of despair. But then there's these game-breaking bugs where you pick a gun off the ground and it's just a blob of pixels, and you ADS and you can't see anything, and you're spectating someone and it's just epilepsy all over the screen. Your loadout is broken. You can't use any of your camos. I've never experienced a game buggier than Modern Warfare and Warzone. And yet, all the people in the world still play it. That, to me, is a success. If you can make a game so bad and so good at the same time, like, that's amazing.
I 100% agree with you. And I'm just going to slip this in real quick at the end here because I play Paladins, and that game released its full version after being in beta for 2 years, and it's still the buggiest game I've ever played. But I'm still one of those people that gets enjoyment out of it. So I think no matter how buggy a game can be, if there is still a player base that enjoys that game, they're going to see past it. They're going to keep playing. They're going to keep watching their content creators. Nothing is going to change that because there's such a commitment and such a loyalty to that brand, to that game, to that franchise, that people are going to keep playing it no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it comes down to the formula that they have. Well, when it's COD, so
Mm-hmm.
they're always gonna have an audience, no matter what game comes out. You know, people played Ghosts. They did. I don't care what you say.
Mm-hmm.
People did play that game,
Yeah.
and some people liked it.
And some people even made YouTube videos on it. They
And
tried.
they
They
got
really
views.
tried.
Yeah, they got views. There was a dog in it. That's why. That's why it succeeded. Both succeeded.
Funny story. My friend refused to keep playing Ghost after he found out the dog's name was Riley, and he had just gotten through a breakup with his girlfriend named Riley.
Ooh.
So
Unlucky.
Yep.
Bad timing, COD.
How
Lost the
dare
player
you?
there. I mean, how does it compare on a free to play level? Because sometimes I own the full game, so I forget it's free to play.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about it, I'm amazed. Should I be amazed that this game is free to play? We have some like Destiny, like that's a huge player base of a
Yeah.
game, free to play for the most part.
Had to go free to play.
Yeah, I mean-
they had too many paywalls to further the game that the only
Yeah.
way that Destiny could progress was to go free to play because I played the first Destiny towards the latter end of its lifespan, and Destiny 2, first day I was on it, I was ready to go, I was thinking I was cool, jumping over buildings and stuff, trying to get these like in-game rewards, but it after expansion after expansion, keep paying $30, $40. I'm like, I might as well buy a new game at this point. There's no reason to keep spending hundreds of dollars just play this one game when so many other games are releasing free content updates
Right.
or free expansions, free cosmetics. It didn't make sense to me to keep putting money into a game that wasn't rewarding me properly, like
Right.
a battle royale does, like a free to play game does. And so even despite the different paywalls in each different game, because you don't have to spend money on a battle pass, you
Yeah.
don't. But if you want that really cool skin, you want that really cool camo for your character, whatever it may be, you're gonna want to. But that's because you enjoyed the game enough to justify that.
Right. And the key is that it's all cosmetic. And that's always the thing people say.
Mhm.
If I have to pay for something, like for a weapon that's better than the other weapons, or an armor or something like that, then it becomes pay to win, right?
Mhm.
Because,
Exactly.
but when it's cosmetic, you can get away with charging people for it because it doesn't actually affect the gameplay. I mean, we could argue, you know, like the hitboxes on skin and stuff, which is all the same in Warzone, no matter what character you have. But you know, there was a time for all you younglings out there. There was a time when you had to pay $15 every 3 months when a new map pack came out for whatever game you had. And those of us like me never got those because my parents said, "We already bought you the game. Why are they adding on to it?" Which is a great freaking question. We spent $60. Give us the content. But then you have the argument from the game developers saying this is extra content that we spent money and time making, and they do deserve money for it. So it's kind of amazing to me growing up in the era of, well, first, where it all came on the disc, and then the era of strife and struggle when there was DLC splitting up the player base so that not everyone was together. You couldn't play with your friends if they had the DLC. And to now this era where we're coming out of pay to win and we're coming out of paid DLC, and now we're in this time of like many games it's quote free DLC, right? But in Warzone it truly is free DLC, and not pay to win. All the players can play together, no matter what version of the game you have. Obviously, if you're free to play, Warzone is a separate game from COD multiplayer now.
Yes.
Because it's gonna continue into the next COD supposedly. We can get to that in a minute, but the free to play nature of Warzone, I think it impresses me more than any other like free to play game because of the amount of content and the amount that I guess the level of full gameness that it gives me.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a more full game.
It doesn't feel like an expansion or a side project that they've put time
or like
into.
a light version.
Yeah, the Warzone experience is its own game. Sure, it's tied to Modern Warfare, but they made it designed to compete with other battle royales, other full released games. That's their project that they're working on. And like you said, going into the new COD, it's supposed to be able to link with that, which I think is a very interesting development that I've never experienced a game that was going to be separate from a game, but still be able to play those games together.
Right.
That's something that I think is going to be very interesting to see how they implement it, to see how well it works, because it's supposed to be able to crossplay with people just playing Warzone and people now playing Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to create new servers, to create new maps designed to function with both games on an already cross play platform, I think it'll be a really good experience for many people coming into the game.
Right. And speaking of crossplay,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if I'm not mistaken, the first AAA title to have crossplay, maybe look it up. I don't know. But
Again, no fact checks here.
there's no facts in this podcast. Disclaimer: nothing I say could be taken as legal advice. But like crossplay, that's huge. We've been asking for this as gamers for the past millennia. It feels like why do we have to be segregated into our PS4s and Xboxes and PCs? And it's especially nice for the PC players because there's not as much sweat on the console. Like everybody knows, PC sweat, consoles some sweat, mostly kids. So you can stomp
Mostly.
on some 5-year-olds every once in a while. It feels good, you know. Like I feel good about myself. I can play against some console noobs. I do own a PS4, so you know I'm not totally calling out the console kids.
I own all the consoles. I bought into all of them.
And you have a PC now.
Yep. I am truly a jack of all trades.
Right. I think crossplay. Am I gonna say this? Should I say that? I think crossplay is the biggest contribution that Warzone has brought to the table. Not that they were the first or the best, but they are the biggest. I think that's the biggest thing that we take away from this, aside from it being, all things considered, a good game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good game. It's got overall good mechanics. There's plenty of bugs and plenty of weapon imbalances, plenty of toxicity, but that's games. You know, that's always going to be games, especially Call of Duty, because it's mostly a money grab. But for a money grabbing company like Activision, yeah, we're sponsored. For a money grabbing company, you know, like they're in the same category as Disney and Marvel and all those people who are. It's art, don't get me wrong, and I totally respect the developers, but the publishers, you know, Call of Duty every year, grab that cash, you know, suck you in. For a franchise like that to make a free-to-play game that's actually good with crossplay, and Call of Duty is not famous for listening to their communities. You know, like that title probably goes more towards Battlefield, not in the recent days maybe, but yeah, crossplay. I'm I'm excited to see how this becomes the industry standard because you can't not have crossplay now.
Yeah.
Your game isn't fully developed unless you have crossplay, and
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says or the excuses that developers give.
Yeah, you become unable to compete. Like unless you're creating a really good solo game, like recent Spider-Man game, and going into that sequel.
Right, solos, that's different.
Yeah, it's a completely different story. But if you're gonna make a multiplayer game, if there isn't gonna be any cross-play compatibility, you're setting yourself up for failure. I think because now you can't reach as wide of an audience. That if you're missing that in your game, then like you said, it's not a full game. You're not ready to release that game unless you have that X factor, that new standard that's becoming prevalent throughout these recent games.
Right. I will add one thing to the state of Warzone that I think is not necessarily a fatal flaw, but it's definitely crippling for players like me, and that is skill-based matchmaking. And it's not just COD, it's not just Warzone, it's many games, and I understand the arguments for it, right? Like noobs don't want to go against pros. That's not fair. Pros want to go against noobs because that's fun. Crushing people in a game is fun, you know? That's what you want. But there's people like me who are in the middle. You know, I'm not a noob, I'm not a pro, I'm an intermediate gamer. I can get her done. when I really need to. And in COD, you know, I'm like at the top end of average. So for me, queuing into a game of Warzone with players on a team that are equally as skilled as I am, we're gonna have a really tough time winning a game with skill-based matchmaking. And you can guess at all the ways that the skill-based matchmaking works. Is there 3 levels? Is there 50 levels of it? Is it KD based? Is it score based? Is it controller based? It is. They do have controller, like keyboard mouse skill-based matchmaking, which is not really skill-based matchmaking. It's like input-based matchmaking.
Yeah.
Regardless, let me put it this way: two things are equal, go against each other. The outcome of the situation becomes more and more based on luck the closer you get in skill. So if I'm a better player than this person, the probability of me beating them is high. If I'm a worse player than this person, the probability of me beating them is low. If we're the same, it's 50-50, right?
Yeah.
And so it's up to the luck, the gods of COD, to decide who wins. And it doesn't, it doesn't feel good, you know? It's when it feels like a fluke a lot. And it's also not fun to have every gunfight in Warzone be extremely difficult. It's fun to get owned sometimes, and it's fun to own. Like, you want both. You want to get yourself to the point where you're, okay, well, that guy was way better than me. How did he kill me? Let me start doing that. And also, I totally outplayed that guy. Success in me learning skills and triumphing over the skill gap of the game. So I think that skill-based matchmaking would be better if it didn't exist. I think it's much better to queue in the game with an entirely random matchmaking service that's based on, you know, your region, however it is, with the ping and all that, and then so at least you have a fair chance of judging your own skill.
Yeah.
Because that's also another, getting back to the toxicity thing. With people losing all the time, you're so much more likely to lose if everybody is the same skill.
Yeah.
So that's my say. Warzone, great game. Play it. It's free. Why not? Actually, it's like almost 200 gigabytes now. So if you have room, play it. If not, sucks for you.
Make space.
With the caveat that please get rid of skill-based matchmaking, or at least make it so that, you know, it's less of an influence.
Well said.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, and then for Warzone,
wait. Whoa! Before you go.
That's too much to say. I'll leave it at that. Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments of this video on all the topics we covered today. This has been Landon, your average aardvark,
and Noah the Gnome.
And this is the state of the game. There you go.